Hey, what the hell's going on, you guys? It is Tuba Player NegativeAE, and welcome back to another episode of Higurashi When They Cry. For those of you not sure what ended up happening on the last episode of this, we had scattered in a direction to go search for Satoko and Rika, who have gone missing as of recent. We don't know why they are missing or how they are missing or what happened to them. We did see a little bit of a crazy Mion. Rena has not revealed herself to be a demon, although if this is anything like the last one, I imagine that she is. But it's not. I have some suspicions on Shion. Insult was talking about how the rule for disappearing is different. It was not necessarily 1-1, because Keiichi killed a bunch of people and then killed himself, so that was kind of weird. So maybe that was Oyashiro's doing. I'm honestly not sure. That's a really good point that I never thought of. So that kind of threw me for a loop. But I've talked enough. Let's start the freaking visual novel here. Suddenly my vision cleared and a cold wind caressed my body. This was the hill from which you could see the whole village. Looking down from this hill, I could see lights on here and there, and knew that the entire village had awoken from its slumber. First Takano-san and Tomitaki-san, then the mayor, and now even Rika and Satoko had been sacrificed, and word of it was spreading everywhere. The strength in my knees left me. This could no longer be a joke. We could have found them. Mion would have told me I was a worrywart, and Rena would be glad we did. They would have smiled at me. My hopes disappeared as if I were awakening from a dream. That was what the view I could see was telling me. Following my knees, both my arms bent forward onto the ground, and I clawed at it with my nails. Couldn't figure out if I was feeling sorrow or frustration. Couldn't endure the burden of my own sin. I had just told Rika-chan about it. They had nothing to do with it, but Rika-chan and even Satoko had been sacrificed. Like a cross that Shion and I would have to bear the weight of until we ourselves were erased. Well, if I'm not going that far, then the problem started long before that. My original sin of breaking taboo and entering the ritual storehouse without asking. I knew I shouldn't have gone in there from the start. Yet I lost out to cheap curiosity. I hadn't felt so angry at myself until this very moment. There was a crunching sound. Wasn't even interested in who made the noise, despondent as I was.
Keiichi-kun? Keiichi-kun? Daijoubu?
I don't like that Ren is here. Perhaps my clawing at the ground made it look as though I was having stomach pains. She ran over and rubbed my back, like she was trying to make me feel better. Oh no.
ケイチ君が何も悪いわけはないよ。自分をどうか責めないでね。
I could tell Rena was doing her best to choose the right words out of consideration for me. That's why I could sense her intent behind those words. What? Keiichi-kun's fault. You didn't do anything wrong. Please don't blame yourself for this. Keiichi-kun, you know why Rika-chan and Satoko disappeared, don't you? What kind of shit is that? What she really meant to say. Because it was an emergency, Rena had ignored the reason why I wanted to make sure Rika-chan was safe, but now that we'd actually confirmed her disappearance, it was only natural Rena would start to wonder about why. However, the situation having gone this far, I couldn't possibly tell her now. I didn't want to, man, but I couldn't let Rena disappear either.
ケイチ君、こんな風通しのいいところにずっといたら風邪ひいちゃう。
Rena sat down, bringing her eyes level with mine.
子供たちはね、もう解散して家で寝ろって。
She showed me her watch as she said that. It was long past 1 in the morning. Boy, I stay up till like 3, 4 in the morning sometimes. Time was passing too quickly. I've been crawling around here for that long?
もう寝ないと明日の学校に差し支え
Screw
るよ。
that.
大人たちだって昨べも一晩中村長さんを探したからみんなクタクタ。今夜は少し早めに解散するって。
I was a little upset that they weren't allotting as much time to this as they had to for the search for the mayor last night. But that was something I, the cause of everything, had no right to criticize them for.
大丈夫。さっきね、今どんどん街から応援のパトカーが来てるよ。
Hearing that remark, I looked down at the village to see that there were indeed more cars than one would normally expect at this hour, coming from the darkness on the other side of the mountain. However, none of their emergency lights were on. Of course, their sirens weren't wailing either. That's right. All of the incidents that occurred after Watanagashi are seen as the product of Oya Shirazukama's curse and would be handled in secrecy. Rika-chan and Satoko too. Their disappearance would end up exactly like the other surreal incidents in the past. Superstitious, unresolved, declared a mystery, and disappeared from memory. Rika-chan's face, her sweet face like a Western doll's, would fade away. Satoko's smile, her energetic, fanged smile, would fade away. The more I tried to remember them, the less I would be able to. I deserved to be called an idiot dozens of times over.
圭一君
I
が
hate my
何を自
freaking...
分に責めているかわからないけれど、もうやめよ。
Okay. I wasn't about to deny it, I couldn't. Even so, I couldn't affirm it either. I wanted to at least keep Rena out of this. She found out she would become involved.
放っておいてくれない。俺きっと家に帰ったって眠れない。
I couldn't get to sleep then I at least wanted to search for Rika-chan and Satoko until I collapsed. The entire village was looking and yet they still hadn't been found. I don't think I'd be able to find them if I went looking alone at this point. Still, I had to do it.
俺のせいで他の探してくれてる人たちよりも
Why-
先になんか眠れるものか。
Oh gosh. I hate this. Ugh.
圭一君のせいなの？どうしてそう思うのかな？
This is terrible. Everything... The whole visual novel has gotten terrible. Not that it's like terrible, but it's terrible. Like this is a terrible situation. Keiichi-kun, you're not at fault. Happy Rena said these things to me, but she did so... She only did so because she didn't know the truth. If she knew everything had been caused by my breaking taboo in the night of Watanagashi, then even Rena would curse my existence. I'm surprised Rena doesn't know. If she doesn't know already. I feel like she knows already. Of me confessing my own crimes to Rena. If I spilled even one word of having snuck into the ritual storehouse on the night of Watanagashi, then even Rena could disappear tomorrow. That gentle, spirited, always joking, always howling. But at a time like this, the most dependable person in the world, Rena, might disappear. I don't want that. Anything but that. This time I need to bear my own cross. Alone.
圭一君がとても仲間思いだって知ってるから、自分を傷つけたくなる気持ちもよくわかるよ。だけどレナは圭一君のせいじゃないって知ってる。圭一君が悪くないって知ってるから。
知ってるって。
Okay. Shivering in my veins rushed up my back and replaced the sorrow in my heart with fear. A little bit confused. I didn't tell her anything, did I? Maybe I accidentally said something that caused Rena to figure it out? Dad. Now Rena would disappear, Rena will disappear, Rena will disappear. Then Rena, the same way I always did, grabbed my head and began to pet it roughly.
ケイチ君、ひょっとしてレナも消えちゃうかもしれないって思ってるのかな。
Stop! Get out of my head!
お社様のたたりで。
Get out of my head. She puts more force into rubbing my head. She's gonna crush it.
だったら安心して。レナは消えたりしないよ。絶対に。
どうして消えないなんて自信を持って言えるんだよ。
Someone's been sacrificed every night so far. There's no proof that it wouldn't happen again tomorrow night. There's even less proof, after all, that the sacrifice wouldn't be Rena. I don't care who you are, just please, if you're going to erase someone, erase me first. Please stop cruelly getting rid of people we're close to, like Mayor and for Shion, Rika-chan and Satoko for me. Okay, so... Okay. Shion's hysterical shouting came back to mind. They must be planning to kill us last of all. They're not killing the people... They're not killing the first people who come to the mind. They start by killing those we're close to. Then after they've caused us so much pain, they'll kill us. That must be what they're doing.
レナ。
Disappear, please don't, as long as I'm still here. I could no longer conceal the sobs welling up within me.
ほら、ケイチ君に涙なんか似合わないよ。みんなのところに行こう。
So...
婦人会の人たちがね、飲むと温まって落ち着くよ。
Rena prompted me to stand. I didn't have the energy to oppose her, so I stood as she urged me to. We turned to the shrine grounds to find several gas stoves there with miso soup in big pots. The many villagers there sipped at the soup they were given in a dead, stony silence. Their expressions were absolutely exhausted. Everyone had just been running around the village until a little while ago. From the dreary looks on their faces, though, I assumed they hadn't come up with anything yet.
ケイちゃん、どこ行ってたんだよ。ケイちゃんまでいなくなったのかと心配したよ。
すまん。
Mian held out miso soup for me, but I refused the offer. I didn't have much of an appetite.
みーちゃん、どう？何か手がかりはあった？
Mian took a sip of her soup, her expression frank.
全然ない。学校が終わってから家に帰って2人で自転車に乗ってどこかに行ったらしい。しかも2人が自転車に乗った姿は全く目撃されていないし。
When it gets dark out in Hinamizawa, people quickly vanish from the streets. Mian seems very mad about this, and I don't know why. Aside from the adults hurrying back home from town in cars or on bicycles, it was normal to see absolutely nobody walking around outside. It wasn't at all strange that nobody had seen Rika-chan and Satoko riding their bikes.
昨日の村長の時と同じ。お手上げだよ。
Mian's apathetic tone pricked my nerves, but the anger quickly subsided. She had been doing all sorts of things to try and find Rika-chan until just a second ago. If I'd asked her, she'd probably say she was up all night last night looking for the mayor, wouldn't she? She must have been far more fatigued than I was. Besides, what about me? I spent the time hunched over in indecision, all alone. I had no right to say anything about Mian.
ケイちゃんも辛いだろうけど今夜はこれで休もう。さっき今夜は解散しようってなったところだよ。これを飲んだらもう終わりにしよう。
終わりなのか。
あ、もちろん終わりじゃ。明るくなったら警察も増援を入れて徹底的に探す。沖宮の方に行ってる可能性もあるからね。村長の件も含めて獅子骨市全体で目撃情報がないか洗うって言ってる。それよりもケイちゃんだよ。どこに行ってたんだい？いつの間にかいなくなっちゃうから心配したんだよ。
Suddenly I was on the receiving end, but I didn't have the willpower to respond.
すまん。気を。
何もなかった。怪しい人に監視されてるとか付け狙われてるとかそういうのはなかった？
I was being criticized for how inconsiderate I had been. Despite being in so much pain, I was frustrated that I was being criticized, but it was my sin. I sinned and I must bear it
何
alone.
もない。でも気をつける。すまん。
Yeah, now aware that nothing had happened, heaved a heavy sigh with both her shoulders looking relieved.
おやおや、美味しい匂いがこれはぜひご評判に預かりたいですね。
Heard the repulsive voice of a fat man. It was Ooishi-san, trailed by a handful of police officers. He was acting energetically in a way unfitting given the situation.
大して残ってないですよ。
Not
それ
much.
でもよければ勝手にどうぞ。
Mia didn't like Ooishi-san very much. Her cold attitude, though, didn't seem to bother Ooishi-san in the slightest. It was like splashing water in a frog's face.
ありゃりゃ、味噌汁のお残りってちょっと塩分高めなんですよね。参ったな。君たちはいただきます？
He recommended it to his subordinates, but everyone gave dry smiles and refused.
どうですか？警察の方では何か手がかりはつかめましたか？
Rena's smile was warm enough to replace the miso
大丈
soup.
夫ですよ。ご安心。ちゃんと探してるん。
But there had been no progress. That sure was an annoying way of beating around the bush.
それよりも、もう本当に遅い時期。どうぞ若い皆さんはお帰り。体に触りますよ。
そうだよ。ケイちゃんもレナも、あとは税金で働いてるおっさんたちがやってくれるから。
私たちだって税金払っ。蕎麦屋さんが自分の作った蕎麦食ってるみたいな気分ですよ。
I really wasn't in the mood for laughter. In fact, Ooishi-san was the only one laughing like an idiot.
じゃあ本当によろしくお願いしますね。帰ろうケイ。明日が辛くなるよ。
そう、なんならお二人を。まあ、じゃあ車を回してあげて。
あ、俺たち自転車で来てるんで。
ご安心。私たちワゴン自転車も積めますよ。
We may have gotten pretty sleepy, but we just needed to ride home at this point. I didn't want to bother police like that. Rena, however,
せっ
nodded.
かくだから私たちだけで帰るよりきっと安全だよ。
When I thought about it carefully, I realized that Rena's idea was extremely rational.
そうと決まれば行きましょう行きましょ
じゃあね、おやすみ。レナもケイちゃんも。
みーちゃんも早めにおやすみ。
I waved my hand as well, saying goodbye. Rika-chan and Satoko still hadn't been found. Yeah, it's been frickin' not even the end of the night yet. My unease, however, was steadily being pushed away by my sleepiness. Or by sleeping. Rena showed the police where our bicycles were so that Ooishi-san could haul them up into their truck. He prompted us to get into the back seat. I could hear the springs squeaking as I sat down on a seat that would normally hurt my rear end, but at this point it was very soft and more than comfortable enough for me to sleep
う。
on.
ではお嬢さんの家から行きましょう。住所はどちらです？
ありがとう私の家はですね
Slowly grew distant. I felt myself. Okay, we're not gonna learn where she lives.
もしもし。
Wonder if that's important. Wonder if where Rena lives is important and why. Unless they just didn't want to make up an address. That's probably what it is. From like a writer standpoint.
前原さん、完全に眠っちゃってますか？
I came to, it was quiet. The car was parked. Ooishi-san was giving me light slaps to the cheek. It didn't feel good at all, so I woke up immediately.
すみません。すっかり寝込んじゃって。
Something was being held right under my nose. Clump of metal? Can of coffee.
ぬるいです。甘いカフェオレなら常温でも。
あ、どうも。
I mechanically took the can and pulled open the top. The feeling of warm, sweet liquid going down my throat awakened my sleepy mind. When my drowsiness receded, I started wanting to know why the car was stopped and why I was offered coffee. Ooishi-san, who had been in the driver's seat, had at some point moved to the back.
「
Why? Oh, yeah. Let's go. It was too late by the time I realized I had made a mistake. Today, of all days, didn't look like I would be getting away. I had a feeling that until Ooishi-san heard what he wanted to, he wouldn't be letting me go. I don't know if that's scary. We wanted to tell him everything anyway, right? Just not mention Shion's name? Which I think is a bad idea. I think we should mention Shion's name. But then again, you know who's completely out of suspicion in my mind right now is Ooishi. Is that a bad thing? That's a bad thing. He's just completely safe. Like, I would be emotionally fucked up if Ooishi-san was like the one taking people away. I'd be like, wait a second, what the fuck? Please, I'm not gonna eat you or anything. Ooishi-san gulped down the last of his coffee, then stretched wide, showing me how relaxed he was. That, however, only served to heighten my nervousness. Isn't this exactly like the library? Like, exactly? Oh, you're going to evade the question at this point? With a deeply unreadable man.
私からは用はない。前原さんから私に用があるんじゃ。別に用なんかないです。ありゃ、本当にあるんじゃないですか。
There was only one side door in the backseat of this truck. In other words, my only exit was blocked off by Ooishi-san. I couldn't get away. You could ask him. You could ask him. I don't know. I could only limply hang my head and maintain my silence. Ooishi-san, despite my resistance, relaxed and began smoking a cigarette. Cries of insects outside seemed to be growing longer and longer to an amount of time that almost seemed infinite.
前原さんから相談したいことがきっとあったと思ってたんですけどね。
The windows were open, but the tobacco smoke still accumulated inside the vehicle. How much did Ooishi-san know? What did he know, and what did he want to hear from me? If finding out the truth made you disappear, then if I told him, Ooishi-san would disappear too? I had a feeling that I didn't need to worry about that in this case.
どうしてこんなことになっちゃったんでしょうね。
Ooishi-san addressed me in a low tone, as if he was talking to himself. How all this ended up happening. Who the hell should I know? That was what I wanted to
富
know.
武二郎さんと高野美代さん、お祭りの時、園崎紫音さんを含めて4人で一緒におられたのを、その富武さんと高野さん、今どうしておられるかご存知ですか？実は気の毒な死に方でした。
Ooishi-san probably played that card in order to surprise me. However, I already knew, and didn't display the extreme reaction he expected.
おや、ひょっとしてご存知でした？
Fortunately for this question in particular, remaining silent was equivalent to saying yes.
じゃあこっちもご存知かな。
So then did you also
富
know?
武さんと高野さんがたたりなんでもですね、入っちゃいけない禁断の建物に入ったからだって言われてるんですよ。
The storehouse for ritual implements, that forbidden shed sealing away Hinamizawa's blood-stained past, where the mistake that started it all
村
happened.
長さんや古出里香さんもそのせいでたたりに遭われたんだという噂はご存知で？
That would mean that it was mine and Shion's fault. He was right. As soon as we revealed what we did,
西宮殿って言いました。あそこの鍵を簡易なものに付け替えたから賊に入られたんだっていうケチがついてるらしいんですよ。
this I knew.
一昨年くらいまでは西宮殿にはでっかい缶抜きとでっかい錠前
I think I knew from the
つけられ
tips.
ていたらしいんですよ。ところがほら、缶主夫妻がお亡くなりになられて、今缶抜きが重くて大変だから、もっと軽い簡単な錠前に付け替えてほしいと村長さんに相談したらしいんですよ。
I didn't know anything about those big bars he was talking about, but the lock had certainly been a simple one. It's a pretty cheap one too, and it didn't really fit my impression of what a lock for a place you'd store something as important as ritual instruments would
リ
look
カ
like.
さんはあの通り、錆びついて重くなった缶抜きは、で、村長さんが職人を手配して、
それがどうしてケチがつくことになるんですか？
つま前の厳重な錠前なら賊には忍び込まれなかった。村長さんとリッコ、こういう話らしいんですよ。
そんな話。
そういう話がまかり通ってて、一部の村人たちが西宮殿に忍び込んだ賊と賊に破られるような鍵に変えた村長とリカさんを罰したんだ。
This doesn't make any sense because Tomitaki didn't go in. We went in. Tomitaki was just outside. So how the fuck does that work?
なんて話があったりなかったりしてるんですよ。
Was there an explanation for that? Tomitaki was just he's just associated. But that's kind of dumb. That's like he didn't go in at all. Maybe he's the one that broke the lock, isn't he? Yeah. I think he's the one that broke the lock and Takano went in. So that makes more sense. Never mind. Letting that slide, certain members of the village deliver punishment upon the seas.
相原さん、どう思います？
どう思うって、その一部の村人ってのもよく。
御三家って渡流しのお祭りの開会式典で、
So they're just explaining the tips.
各家の代表、
祭りには途中から来たから。
御三家ってのは具体的に言うと、君吉家、園崎家、古出家の本当に古い家筋ら、大昔から村の決め事は御三家が合議して決めるんだと言われてます。
Sonozaki was Mion's. The Furude family was Rika-chan's family then.
園崎家が戦後に一気に勢力、例のダム闘争で反ダムの旗頭になってからは事実でもですね、古いしきたりに従い、今でも重要な村の方針は御三家で合議して決めている。だから渡流しの開会挨拶も御三家の当主がそれぞれなさるんですよ。つまり村長と園崎家の現当主のおばあ様、そして古出家の最後の人。
園崎家が大した家柄だという話は聞かされてたけど、リカちゃんの家もそういう旧家だ。
まあご存知の通り、親族は全くおられませんから、古出家は事実上全く勢力を持ちませんがね。ただリカさん個人には求心力があるようで、村のお年寄りには盲信する方が多いと聞いています。
It was certainly true that Rika-chan had an odd sort of charisma amongst the elderly.
その御三家ってのが何だって言うんですか？
ここまで
わからないから聞いてるんです。
御三家の人間が相次いで消されてるんです。どういうわけかね。ひなみ沢の内側の古い因習か何かに基づいて。
そんなの俺にだってさ。
ですから君吉家、古出家の当主が消えたんですから、次は園崎家の当主が消えるんじゃないかなんて思ったり思わなかったりしたりする。なんちゃって。
園崎家の当主って
当主は園崎本家のおばあちゃんなんですが、実質上の当主権限はもう孫娘のミヨンさんに移行していると見て間違いないでしょうね。
Visage of Mion giving prompt directions to the adults while searching for Rika-chan sprung back in mind.
ミヨンが消える。
She's evil. Fuck her. Boom. Gone. She's out. Out of my life. Why? Why? You saw how evil she is. You saw. This man Maebara saw this girl go crazy while holding a ladder that you're like on top of. You should be like, hey, what the F was that? You know? Like, I would be mad. I would be visibly mad if she starts talking crazy and shaking the ladder and I'm about to lose my footing, and then the only reason I'm alive is because people showed up. I would be visibly mad. I'd be like, hey, Mion, what the F was that back there? But this man's like, oh, she's gonna disappear, my friend?
Yeah,
Screw that, dude.
当たり前だ。そんなの許せるものか。
Ooishi-san grabbed my shoulders with both hands.
では協力を。
園崎美音さんについて最近気づいたこと、何でもいいから話してください。
I was going along with him. By the time I'd realized it, it was too late. Ooishi-san brought his face in closer, almost enough to ram me, waiting for my next words. This pressure. Can't tear my eyes away from his. That moment, I heard a beeping sound. It was from the driver's seat. He ignored it at first, but then it started to bother him, so he finally let go of me and leaned into the driver's seat.
もしもーし。はいはい、感度良子。
Was saved. Of course, it's not like I could escape through this opening.
そう。はいはい。では戻りましょう。はいはい。はいはい。
Apparently, he was being recalled. Now that I knew I'd be freed, the tension in my body dissipated all at once.
そろそろ戻らない。これからがいいところだったんですが、残念ですね。
He left the door open. Did that mean I could
前
leave?
原さんは友達思いの今時関心な若者です。友人のことを警察に喋ると、なんだか裏切っているよ。前原さん、一晩差し上げますから、ゆっくり。前原さんのほんのちょっとの勇気が、結局、大勢の友人を救うことにつながるかもしれないのです。
To say that the sacrifices wouldn't stop with Rika-chan and Satoko?
分かってると思いますが、これまでは毎年1回だったたたりが本当に景気のいい年です。
This is a weird year.
そんなの
Well, I
景
mean,
気がいいなんて言いません。
like we said in the first one, like a whole bunch of people died on like the first, on like that day, right? So, I don't know. I don't know.
おととい、昨日、そして明日の晩も、それを未然に防ぐのが私たちの仕事ですが、それには前原さんの協力が不可欠なんです。
Looked out the open door to see another than my own house right in front of me. It creeped me out that he knew my name and an address, but I was too sleepy right now. I was too sleepy to care.
まあ、もう3時になり、どうぞごゆっくりおやす。
はい。では、失礼します。
When I was about to get out of the truck as if to deliver a parting blow, Ooishi-san said in a raised voice.
私、前原さんが話す気になってくれるまで、取り調べして自白を強要っての、もう時代じゃないと思いますんで。
Didn't say anything in response, but me slamming the door shut probably served the same purpose. After lightly beeping the horn, Ooishi-san's truck drove up. I went to the front door without waving goodbye. The door was locked, but the chain wasn't up. I unlocked the door and entered. And walked over to the staircase. I hope he shut that door. That was where I lost consciousness. At the end? The end? We're gonna get some tips? How many tips? How many tips we get? 4. Alright, we're reading all of them. Let's go. Let's read some tips. Alright, so Rika-chan and Satoko are gone. I don't know. I still think Shion probably has a part to play in this. They wouldn't just introduce her and then have her not play a part, you know? Besides, you know, I don't know. I feel like she is. And it's just in the bottom of, it's like a sinking feeling. When something's too good to be true, that's Shion. And it just seems like if I was trying to write a character that was evil, I would first, and I've done this before when I play like D&D and stuff, or like I'll like DM, I'll put a character that is like sort of friendly at first, you know, like they barely give any hints to that they're evil, and then boom, out of nowhere as a twist, it's like this person is evil. All right, now this person that you've worked with for so long has turned another cheek, you know? I don't know. The one to drastically expand its influence after the war was the Sonozaki family. The leader at the time was Oryu Sonozaki, who still has that seat today. Oryu Sonozaki has grown old, and today you can only catch a glimpse of who she was at the time. From what I've been told, however, she was a leader extolled as the best in history. Having become so old, aside from going out a few times a week for lessons, she spends her time at home in solitude, and seems to leave most of the ceremonial affairs to her heir, Mion. There are different views on why the successor was not her daughter, but her granddaughter, Mion, but it's rumored that it has to do with disownment of her own daughter and son-in-law. The uninhibited granddaughter, Mion Sonozaki, still shows no signs of the dignity required of the next leader. However, she does have Sonozaki blood in her veins and is permitted the name of Demon. She still doubtlessly requires caution and is probably hiding her fangs and claws as skillfully as the leaders of the past did. Interesting.
はい。郵便局員も目撃してないそうです。
Sonozaki
園崎本家は郵便受けにハンコが吊るしてあるそうで、書き留めも宅配便も勝手にハンコをして投函していいことになってるんだそうっす。
そりゃ不用心ですね。ってことは最後の目撃はいつになるんです？
綿流しの開会式でした挨拶が最後です。その後すぐに帰宅したらしいっすから。
これですからね。話じゃ週に何回かお稽古ごとで外出。そっちはどうです？
毎週月曜に集会所で大正事を習ってるんですが。
欠席の電話とかは？それを誰かが確認したとかは？
いえ、誰も。ただたまに休むことがあったらしいので。
明日さ、10時くらいになったら市役所のふりして電話してみましょうかね。在宅を確認してみてください。
10時ですね。了解っす。
Ever since it started to seem more and more like ancient Hinamizawa traditions had something to do with all this, he'd been keeping a careful eye on the three families. At this point, the leader of the Kimiyoshi family and the leader of the Furude family had disappeared. There was only one leader left. Oryu Sonozaki, the leader of the Sonozaki family. She was apparently a pretty old woman, and her dignity hasn't waned, but she still only appeared before people rarely, so it was difficult to confirm whether she was or where she was at any given time. She, the last leader, hadn't been seen since the day of the Watanagashi. She's still alive and well within the Sonozaki main house? Or had she...
園崎美音が言うには
本当に寝込んでるのかな。顔と脈を見てみたいですね。
まったくっす。
Two of them breathed out a puff of cigarette
大
smoke.
石さん、園崎本家と古出神社の捜査令状、申請通ると思います？
Ooishi didn't respond, exhaled another cloud of tobacco smoke, his surroundings now foggy, as foggy as his mind. That was an interesting cutoff, but we'll never know. I like that. Like when they don't provide the answer to things. But it depends on the situation. Inhabitants of Hinamizawa believe that the blood of demons flows in their blood. As such, the character for demon, this, is is treated as very scared. For example, usage of the character this in names is apparently a right reserved for only the leaders of the Kimiyoshi and Sonozaki family. Case in point, we can see it in the current Sonozaki family leader's name, Oryu, which is written with the character this. There it is, right there. This, and only this, is proof that she is a legitimate leader of the Sonozaki family. In the same way, Mion Sonozaki, its successor, contains this in her name, with Mi being written as this. It also goes for Oryu's daughter and Mion's mother, Akane, who did not succeed her. It's known that before the disowning, Akane's name was actually written as this, though it was changed afterwards to this, which still reads Akane. Incidentally, it's thought that the first character in the Mayor Kichiro's name, this, which originally meant demon, can also be read as Ki. It should be said that the names using the character this aren't limited to only to successors of Sonozaki family. You can even find it in the last names of the three families. For example, the characters for Kimiyoshi is likely a split up version of. That is weird. I don't know how Japanese works. Like I was kind of getting it in the first, but then this is like oh, this is just a separated this, and it's like, yeah, but like what? And is that I don't know. If you write it in reverse to top and bottom as that, it clearly resembles the character that it would be so hard to learn this. As for the Furude family, this, who have been in the Shinto priesthood for generations, the word for fortune teller could be written without interval characters as this. I think that with the addition of the demon's horn, the tick on the top of the character, that this became the this that is used in their name now. I have no idea. Oh, I have no idea. They all have demon in their name. Somehow they've worked it out so that they all have demon in their name. In the case of the Sonozaki family, where the Sonozaki is written this, I can't find any reference to the character this. Perhaps it's already ingrained into their first names. Huh. They were the clan responsible for running the Watanagashi family, so I think that instead they included the contents of that ceremony into their last name. The Zaki in Sonozaki is a conjugation of the word for slice, and the Sono, written as this, probably contains a hidden meaning of human body. It's cool that there's a hidden meaning to things, as it is a complicated mess. Blank or this or organs, freaking I can't speak, enclosed by four sides. I'm trying to figure this out. I know it's not like, I know it's like trivial, it's not like necessary, it's just kind of explaining to me that there's like demons and stuff in the shit, but like this like fascinates me that this is even a thing that can be like, oh yeah, it also has a hidden meaning of human bodies, and as it is a complicated mess, organs enclosed by four sides. Organs. And that says Zaki. Freaking I don't know. I think in other words, Sonozaki comes from those who slice open the gut. What? That's crazy. I have no idea how that works. But that's cool. So those who slice open the gut, Sonozaki.
Ah, お疲れ様です。
どうです？何か手がかりはありました？
The officers shook their head in disappointment. Exhaustion was plainly showing on everyone's faces. That was only natural. None of them had gotten a wink of sleep since the day of the Watanagashi.
若い子から交代で仮眠取らせてあげてください。ここからは長丁場になりますからね。無理せず体を休めながら飲み。
みんなには交代で休めって言ってるんだけどね。みんな遠慮してなかなか休んでくれないんだよ。お医者さんからも言ってくれないか。
ありゃありゃ。小宮山君、若い子から順に交代で休ませてあげてください。
小宮山さん、そうしてあげてください。
As after the chief told him as well, Komiyama-san left his seat.
で課長、例の請求なんですけど。
第一、村人の噂だけなんでしょ。 もっと具体的な証拠がなければ難しいよ。
Just a rumor among the villagers in the first place. It's going to be difficult without more concrete evidence.
その証拠があの中に詰まってるかもしれないんだ。
その証拠が中に詰まっているという証拠。
課長、なぞなぞやってるんじゃないんですよ。死んだ2人を含む4人が綿流しの番に西宮殿と呼ばれる、ここまでは信頼できる
情報と言ったってあくまでも噂だよ。証拠。
そりゃまあ、4人が放火無理して忍び込む写真はありませんがね。とにかく4人は西宮殿の中で何かを見たんです。消されるくらいの何かを。
消されるくらいの何か？それは何だい？
That's why I'm asking for a warrant to go into the
園崎家絡みの闇市場関係が有力候補ですな。拳銃とかご金製の品とか、園崎家の隠し資産ってのも捨てがたいあたりです。
大石さん、気持ちはわかるけど、あの西宮殿ってのは古出神社にある神聖な建物で、地元の人間への相当な配慮が必要な建物なんだよ。
I heard that there was an hour-long call made from Congressman Sonozaki to the big man. Chief, could he have nailed you back down?
とにかく相当の証拠がない限り、西宮殿の捜査令状は園崎本家への令状も同じだ。特に園崎本家への捜査は四課と県警の暴対が絡んでる。入念な事前調整がいるんだ。
調整がいるってんなら、私直接乗り込んでつけてきてもいいですよ。暴対は三海さん、隣の雀荘で話した方が早そうなメンツですね。
課長にお客様です。
Pushing the employee who had guided him in right out of the way, there was an old man who looked like a Yakuza member given his crested kimono and hakama. Did you not get enough of this over the phone?
わしは議員の園崎じゃ。責任者を出さんか。はよせい。
どうも。私が課長の高杉でご。
お前の名刺なぞいらんわ。お前なんぞいつだって官職に飛ばす。それにお前だ大石とかいう男も呼ばんか。神聖な古出神社に捜査令状なんぞを請求しよった罰当たり者じゃ。
申し訳ございません。大石はただいま捜査に出ておりまして、なかなか連絡がつきにくく、私が代わっどうぞおかけください。
Chief says for telling me to get out of here. Perhaps I'll greatly accept this favor. Maybe I'll go lay down in the nap room.
よいか。古手神社はそもそも公暦2600年に次ぐ八百万の神々とお社様と先祖の霊を祀り、日が昇りてからそれを土足で踏みにじろうという、そもそも信仰の自由は憲法で定められた国民の最も尊い権利である。こんなものは断じて許せんぞ。聞いておる。わしを怒らせて。
Jesus, talk about a freaking wall of text. It's still going. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. Interesting stuff. We still have a little bit to go. I'm gonna go ahead and save right here. Wow, thank you guys so much for watching. Hit the like button. There's a lot of stuff that a lot of stuff I don't know. There's a lot of stuff I don't know. Like, I didn't really get too much more information than I already knew. I kind of almost revealed stuff to Rena, which would have been a bad idea. Because I'm still functioning until it's revealed that she's either not a demon or that she is a demon. I'm still wary of Rena. Shion seems like she's going to play a major part in all of this. Like, something's going to click, and I feel like she's going to be a big part. Still curious what's going to happen in the third one. There's not, like I said, there's not much that I got here that I didn't get in the last one. So we got some interesting tips, and our main character now knows that Rika-chan replaced the lock, so maybe that'll soften the blow a little bit on what we've done. I still don't know how he's going to feel in the morning, because Rika-chan and Satoko are gone. So it'll be interesting to how he deals with that. We do have to go to school. And I was told to tell Ooishi-san anything suspicious about Mion, which I believe will start Mion being hostile to me. I have no idea what's happening. So I will see you guys in the next episode of this when we can find out what is happening. And I will talk to you guys later. Peace.